Alright, hello everyone. I'm doing some camera stuff because I got a cool camera now. Anyway, we got a nice taste of what the transmog stuff looks like today in the TWAB. This is the April 22nd of 2021. It's quite a bit. And I just decided I want to talk a little bit about my experiences with transmog and MMOs. Obviously, I've been playing MMOs for a long time. Um, I put 20 years in the title, but it's closer to 17. Doesn't really matter. And just kind of we'll jump into it just by reading the TWAB, like the bits that they've given, and to get it out of the way, like I think it's cool. Like I'm happy we finally have the system in Destiny. I just think that if the something about this implementation doesn't feel right, whether we're looking at technical limitations or like I don't know. Whatever we're looking at, it's something about this isn't right. Something is technical limitations, like I said, from the engine. Maybe it's because it's dated. All the way, maybe it's for a money thing. Who knows? I don't work at Bungie. You probably don't work at Bungie. If you do work at Bungie, you're probably not watching this video. Let's be real. All right, so moving this over here. Look at that transition. So we got armor synthesis and guardian appearance. Centralized, we already know. Cool. So the break it down pretty much is you kill stuff, you earn this, precursor material. You spend the precursor material on bounties to earn a secondary or a man-in-the-middle material, and then after that, you can convert that into synth weave. So it's pretty much precursor, crafted, it's a pre-craft and then craft, right? So like 1, 2, 3. This is a little convoluted in and of itself, and I don't need to form your opinion for you. You can think about this. I think that this could be a really cool opportunity, provided maybe like it was just this or this and then goes to 3, and so instead of like we only have 1 or 2 and then goes to 3, it adds something to do for the players, right? Rather than just like, oh, go spend 500,000 glimmer on, or like, sure, it's like it's a little lame, but it's a fair approach to it. Anyway, so we've talked about this, and this is just some of the samples of the bounties, and this interface looks great. Like, it looks nice. I like this new interface, and it looks fun. It looks interesting. It shows the shader. It shows the armor piece. Cool. That's cool stuff. Which this is weird because this is a year 1 piece, and they said year 1. Anyway, so this is the big hot topic here: the fact that they've capped the synth weave. That's pretty silly. And this is where I'm starting to go to my mentality of this has to be something to do with an engine limitation. Maybe Destiny just can't handle that. I don't know. I don't know, because it seems arbitrary that this would be, not arbitrary, like incorrect that this would be a fact, because the next season that it comes out, it's gonna be 20. So something tells me that this is a hard limit put in place for the sake of who knows what. It's not necessarily clear how the silver stuff works, and obviously it's Bungie. I don't want to have I don't want to jump to the worst possible conclusion, you know what I mean? That's stupid. Either way, I think that the approach here is a little goofy, and I'm real curious to see what the words are. I'd really love to see if there's like a technical limitation here in this, because even then, like, how does it make sense, right? That doesn't make sense. Anyway, so pretty much to give you a rundown, you can unlock, or you can make 10 of these transmog pieces per season. 20 next season. It starts at 20 next season, but every other season after is going to be 10. And this is day of information release. This is the day of the press release. We don't know what else is going to be coming out. They might change it. Maybe it's not an engine limitation. Who knows? We don't. They do. So we're going to have to hope and wait and see. Anyway, there's going to be some limitations on year 1 armor ornaments, Vanguard, Crucible, Iron Banner, whatever. And I know some of these Iron Banner year 1 ornaments look phenomenal, which that stings a little bit. No. But that's besides the point. I'm going to sit up here. Cool. So, Trials of the Nine, whatever. And it's worth noting that ornaments can still be applied to the base armor piece from an activity that the ornament originates. So, Crucible ornaments from Curse of Osiris, they can apply to Crucible armor. So cool. All right. This is kind of weird, like how it can't be applied to seasonal armor. I'm not sure what would cause this, and that makes me question like how armor actually functions in the real talk, but that's a whole different concept, and I'm not even going to get into that. So 2018-2019 Solstice will be available for armor synthesis. That's good. The glows can't be socketed, and this, I guess this makes sense from like an interface thing, whatever. So this is the Eververse bit of it. That's something is a little more controversial, which is you can pay 1,000 silver for 5 tokens or 1 for 300 silver. And this is, we're not sure if this is gonna be just for, it adds to, or it counts towards your 10 that you get per season or 20 per season, or if it adds on top of that. Because if so, that's extremely predatory, and that's a whole other thing. Shaders, they said apply all, whatever. So we're gonna cut from this, and I'm gonna go and do some talking and maybe take a little bit of a step, like a trip back to memory lane about various other MMOs and the whole transmog approach to that, and kind of comparing and contrasting, and not necessarily being critical, but just giving a perspective and giving my opinion on things, because I want to. That's it. I just want to. Cool. So to jump into it, let's talk about what actually transmog means. Transmog is short for transmogrify, and it just means to transform in like a magic way. And of course, this falls under like, you know, the Dungeons and Dragons fantasy and all that a lot of MMOs are built on top of. But like, that's a whole other thing. Anyway, so it's, you know, quote unquote a magic way of making yourself appear in like in some way, shape, form, or manner that you want to. It pretty much is just cosmetic overrides to your armor and even weapons, or perhaps enchants on the weapons, stuff like that. And we can see here in this clip WoW, and I'm just showing you WoW's transmog system. As you can see, compared to Destiny's, where the WoW transmog system is quite literally any item that I've collected on this ever. Of course, I'm on a rogue here, and it's rogues can only wear leather. There's like 4 armor types. There's cloth, leather, mail, and plate in World of Warcraft, and that changes depending on what spec or class you're playing often. So I only have access to leather. And granted, I'm not comparing the numbers here, but I'm comparing the approach to the system, and possibly outlining dilapidation or outdated technologies in the environment here, but that's a whole other topic. Again, I'm trying to keep this as a straightforward, and this is how something ideally should be. You're giving full creative process to the player. Now, there is a little bit of a limitation, like you can't transmog stuff over your level. So like, let's say there is a raid that drops a weapon, and you had to be initially level 40 to do that raid in current leveling. I could not transmog that weapon on my character if I was level 25 or 30, for example. And that's because it's just misleading, right? That doesn't make sense. And that might also be a hard limitation, right? But I don't work for Blizzard, I don't work for Bungie, and I'm just sitting here showing you my perspective. You guys know I'm not too picky. Like, I'm not a picky guy. I just think it's super important that transmog in Destiny 2 gets done correctly the first time. It needs to be done right the first time. And the reason for this is because you build upon transmog later on with extra features. Again, we're seeing the WoW example. And it's not like this, you know, Destiny came out a couple years ago, and this is just like off the cuff feature. This is a feature people have been asking for since the game released 6 years ago with Destiny 1, give or take. I think we're pushing 6.5. Now, to put that into perspective, we had to wait 7 years from World of Warcraft's release, from patch 1.0 or 1.1 technically, all the way until patch 4.3 in November of 2011 to get transmog in Cataclysm. So we still had to wait longer in WoW. And I even had to wait like 11 or 12 years to get transmog in RuneScape. And if you think Destiny's transmog is predatory with the whole silver system, I'll tell you about RuneScape's right now. To summarize it very, very quickly, they use keepsake keys, which are this item you buy for rune coins. Rune coins are functionally the same thing as silver in Destiny, although you can buy bonds, which is an item that lets you redeem it for what would be things that require real life money that another player buys and sells on the market with their real life money. So they would spend like their 6 United States dollars, get an item in game that they could sell on the market in game for some value. And another player who doesn't want to spend that 6 United States dollars or whatever it may be, they would buy that with in-game money and either redeem that for like a membership time, like 2 weeks in RuneScape, or rune coins, which would be silver in this case. And you would spend these rune coins on this keepsake key or spend real life money on it. And then you would put an item that you own into this keepsake key, Now I want to emphasize, let's say you like the appearance of an item that cost you 2 billion gold pieces. You would have to put the item into this, and you couldn't access this item for the time that it was in this keepsake key. However, if you wanted to get the item out of the keepsake key, you could do that 100% for free. I think it breaks the item, but you lose the keepsake key permanently. And yeah, it's a little predatory, and it's a lot better now. Not the whole keepsake key thing, but the way Transmog and RuneScape works as a whole is there's like a lot of free cosmetics you can do and override with and stuff like that, and those are cool. But man, it gets expensive to do the keepsake key stuff. Anyway, that's how that works. I'm not going to go too in depth in that because it's pretty basic. And something that's really important that I actually need to mention that I failed to mention in a previous voice clip was that World of Warcraft example was actually only added in Legion, which was 2 expansions ago in 7.0.3, and that's when they gave us like the whole any armor you've ever like had or equipped, I think specifically had bound to you, or weapons, stuff like that. The pseudo collections, like I was talking about, it was available for Transmog. Before, you actually had to like have the item, and it was structured a lot more like Destiny's. But the point remains that there weren't any like weird hard limitations that just kind of didn't make sense in the end. That just didn't exist back then. But that's not to say that it's this again, this all goes back to the whole point of I'm saying they need to get this right the first time, because we can't have a situation where we're in year 10 of Destiny and now there's this massive overhaul to Transmog when there's 700 pieces of armor and Destiny 3 comes out next month, you know? Like, we can't find ourselves in this situation because this is so important. People like fashion, they like showing off their characters in Destiny. There's a lot of artists and all kinds of stuff like that and creatives in this environment. And to limit players, like whether intentionally or unintentionally, is just so, it sucks so bad to do that. But I just wanted to bring it up and say, hey, I actually forgot to mention that, and I'm not going to go and, like, you know, create a narrative based on a false context. That's just not fair. In my veteran perspective, which is the topic of the video that I'm finally covering after giving you 10 minutes of history lessons, I don't think the approach is awful. I think that the hard capping on how many you can do per season, provided that this wasn't just explained extremely poorly, is going to be the biggest thing that kind of ruins it for everyone. And you're seeing here in the background, I actually asked some of my friends who play WoW, and also they're Destiny players, and we're big fans of like fashionscaping and RuneScape and Destiny and WoW, showing off some of their like little transmog sets that they've built over the years in WoW. And as you can see, there's like 15 slots per per little outfit. Per transmog, you know, can you imagine if they had like a limit like this in WoW? Now you can imagine that people who are like this creative, you know, go and do this in Destiny, they're gonna feel so limited, they're gonna feel so constricted. And I think that this hard cap of 20, 10, whatever per character is just, it's gonna ruin it for them, and it's gonna kill the experience for them. And you know, that's just not fun. That's not fun at all. And I really hope that they decide to kind of restructure how this works. I think that's going to be extremely important. And that's really the only thing. It's like the method of going about it is kind of lame and it sucks, but it could be way, way, way worse. They could make it so that we always have to pay silver to, like, you know, even benefit from it. But again, not like I'm getting into some unrealistic territories. That's definitely what I'm the most critical of. But to be honest, I'm just happy that we have Transmog in general at this point. Again, I've waited a long time back and forth, and I've been through so many crap Transmog systems that this is nothing to me. But I do think that with things like this that are like kind of current gen, the age of Destiny's engine starts to show. Whether or not that's the actual case is debatable, right? But it definitely feels like the age starts to show. And I don't think it's as bad as people are making it out to be. I want to see what official developers from Bungie say, what the PR people are going to tell us, because it seems like they're very receptive to the feedback on this. They know that this is an extremely anticipated feature, and I think that they're going to be willing to change or work around limits if they can. That would, you know, the safest available options that they have, granted with their hardware and software and engineering. that's my perspective on this. That's all I have to say. That really, I don't want to make this too long of a video. I just wanted to kind of like throw my thoughts out there, you know, thoughts, so that I have something to link to my Twitch chat and like something to throw on Twitter or whatever. Anyway, hopefully this was cool. Hopefully this like maybe gave a little bit of insight, entertainment, and education. And that's all I gotta say. I will see you guys later. Thanks for watching, alligator. Chomp chomp.